Hey everybody, and good to see you this afternoon. It is 12:17 p.m. Central Time, and I am doing something that I don't do a whole lot, and that is a Travel Tips Tuesday episode midday. So this is pretty exciting, and I'm glad to be here with you all on this Tuesday. In fact, it is Tuesday, March the 24th, 2025, and our topic for today is sailing into freedom. Kid-free voyages. Yes, you've heard of Kids Sail Free. It's a promotion that I talk about often, especially with Royal Caribbean and some of the other cruise lines that are out there that are very family-friendly. And I love family-friendly cruises. I love the idea of sailing with kids. A lot of them have fantastic kids clubs and so many wonderful things to do and big ships and all the things to do. But oh, it's March the 25th. Yes, you're right, David. It's March the 25th, not the 24th. I knew that. But the thing about sailing with kids is that sometimes we don't get to relax as much. We have another set of worries than we do when it's just grown-ups. Even on especially on say ships that don't even allow kids on board in the first place. We're going to get into a little bit of that today, but before we get more into today's topic, I want to go ahead and post the question of the day up here, and that's this. And just you don't necessarily have to reply to this, especially if you're going to be watching this later, because a lot of people are working. Some of you are on their lunch break, and you may catch this. But I want to ask this just straight up: why is it important to take vacation time? Why? Why is it important to take vacation time? What sort of value does that bring to you? Is it just a number that you see slowly creeping up as you accrue vacation hours, or is it just kind of a thing that you look at when you're applying for jobs? What is the importance of it? Why should we pay attention to something like that? So we're going to get back to that here in just a little bit, but I want to go ahead and chat a little bit about something that is kind of coming soon that all travelers should be aware of, is sort of your big travel tip for today. And that is, are you real ID ready? And what does that mean? Well, this has been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I've honestly lost count of how many times the Department of Homeland Security has pushed this back. This idea of having a real ID is basically something that is an extra security measure that is being put in place for domestic travel. As you know, a lot of people, you may have to, if you travel, you have to have one of these guys, a passport. This is mine that I've got. That's relatively new. I renewed it not quite a year ago or so, but starting May 7th, all travelers 18 years of age or older have to have a real ID. And what does that mean? Just like this little picture right here that I picked up from the Chicago, I think it was Chicago O'Hare Airport. It's either the O'Hare or Midway. I can't remember which one. But this particular one, if you look at it, they're holding a kind of a fake copy of a license there. There's a gold star. My license has that on there. And that is just proof that it's a real ID. In Alabama, we call it a star ID just because, well, we do things differently here, I guess. But it's the same thing. And it basically shows that you are a U.S. citizen. You are who you say you are. It's just sort of an extra measure of, again, security as we're syncing things up with TSA when you fly domestically. So, we've been having to show IDs if you're, if you are above, I think 16 years old, you have to kind of show an ID. But now, again, as of May 7th, anyone traveling domestically has to show an ID that qualifies as a real ID. So one of them is going to be the star logo that you have on your say driver's license or a government issued ID. Maybe it's not a driver's license. Maybe it's just an official identity card. But passports or passport cards will also, or if you have global entry, will also suffice for that. So it's not just your driver's license that has to have this on there. If you don't have this on there and you don't think you're going to have time to get this on there, you can travel domestically May 7 and forward with your passport, with your global entry card, or with your passport card if you have one of those as well. But that's just something to keep in mind. We want to make sure that folks are aware of that, and we don't want you to wait to get that ball rolling, especially as we kind of approach summer travel season. We're right in the midst of spring break travel season right now, and we want to make sure that you are prepared and that you're not turned around at the airport. This is not a specific airline rule. This is not a destination rule. Again, this does not apply. This is not like an international travel thing. This is a domestic travel thing that's starting on May the 7th. So you can go to this official website that you see there on this graphic, tsa.gov/ID. That's tsa.gov/ID to find out more information about what kind of IDs are acceptable. But go ahead and make sure, again, for all travelers 18 years of age or older in your traveling group, that you have one of these because we want to make sure you're set up. Again, some of the IDs, and this is not a comprehensive list, but passports, global entry cards, passport cards, and then driver's licenses with the Star ID logo on there are all acceptable. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're prepared. I want to make sure you're prepared. And on that note, this is just a quick update because I get asked about this on occasion. Passport processing times. For a while, I would say, especially post-COVID, when we were in the middle of the COVID pandemic travel resurgence, passport processing times were weeks and basically months backed up. Well, the Department of State and Homeland Security have put into practice some new processes that they've refined and worked on where folks can renew your passports online now, which is pretty cool. If you have an active passport, you can go online and apply for renewal. Make sure you check those passport dates if you're going to be traveling internationally, and make sure that it has at least 6 months of validity left on it from the time that you're going to return forward. So from that date that you're going to get back, or supposed to get back from your trip, make sure that you check it and it has 6 months of validity left on it. And if it does not, go ahead and start that passport renewal process now, because you don't want it to be one of those little details that causes your trip to go sideways before it ever starts. And that's for everybody in your group. If you're a group leader, if you know people that are traveling, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your neighbors, make sure that they check their passports to make sure it's still valid, because it's one of those things, again, for adults that is good for 10 years. And sometimes we can forget when it expires, especially if we don't use it a ton. But it's a great tool to have around just in case, as an alternate form of ID for employment verification and other things that we may need, including, again, domestic travel. So make sure you keep that in mind moving forward. So those are kind of our little news tidbits for today. And to I want to go kind of poke around over here. My buddy Jonathan says, John. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan's over in North Carolina. Again, Dave says, what's up, John? Hey, Dave. Good to see you. And he also asked, are there some adult-only cruise options? There are, and we are going to get into those. But again, before, I'm going to throw this back up there again. Why is it important to take vacation time? Think about it. Give me your answers. Sit on that for a little bit. So again, our topic for today is this: sailing into freedom, kid-free voyages. Well, why are we talking about that? Well, like our question of the day, a lot of us in the professional world, if you are employed, if you're an independent contractor, maybe not so much. But if you are employed, you get this little thing called vacation time. And it could vary from, say, a couple weeks to 4 weeks to 5 weeks, depending on how long you are tenured, what your employer's rules are. I have a friend that just got hired by a pretty well-known technology company who has unlimited vacation time. Yes, that actually does exist. It's not a myth. But companies do offer that to some of their employees. So, and that doesn't mean he can just never show up to work. That doesn't mean you can never show up to work or just work when you want necessarily. But vacation time is there. It's something we need to take. And a lot of times, especially if you have kids, our first priority is, okay, let's look at the school schedules. When's spring break? When's fall break? When's winter break? When's summer break? When's President's Day? When's Martin Luther King weekend? When's Columbus Day? You're looking at all these like long weekends and weeks, because you got to plan your summer travel. You want to make sure that you prioritize, your family and your kids' schedules on top of all the different things they go on, and spend some time with them, and plan those trips and make sure that they happen, right? And it doesn't have to always be some big, grand, magical vacation, as it were. But sometimes it's just a getaway, say to the mountains or to the beach, or to a state park, or you're going camping somewhere, or maybe it's a staycation. That vacation time we are meant to use it for a reason. But sometimes, putting all that aside, we're putting families aside, kids, let's, go and play and be quiet for a little while. Sometimes adults need to just get out and have adult time. We need to disconnect. And we are not just parents. We are not just mom. We are not just dad. We are not just the providers for our family. We are more than that. We wear multiple hats in life. And sometimes we need to rest, and we need to refuel, and we need to care for ourselves. And that is so important. And one of the ways that we can do that is going on an adults only cruise or an adults only vacation. But today, kind of in our cruise series, we're going to kind of continue this idea on. Next week, we're going to take a pause from the cruise series to talk a little bit about all-inclusives, and you'll find out more about that later. But I want to kind of shout out some of the benefits of adult-only cruising. And if you are watching right now, I would love to hear from you. If you can think of some benefits of adult-only cruising, I'm going to share some of those with you right now. But the first thing is going to be peace and quiet. It is a lot easier to find peace and quiet. Do family-friendly cruise lines have adult-only areas on the ships? Yes, they do. Many of them have those. Royal Caribbean has one called the Solarium, which is fantastic. Whenever I'm on a Royal Caribbean ship, I always make a point of going there and just unplugging and relaxing. But on some adult-only cruise lines, there can be a little bit of a party vibe, but it's easier. It's easier to find that peace and quiet when you need it, to unplug, and to relax. You're not have to worrying about where your kids are, what they're doing, getting what they need, making sure that they're safe and accounted for and everything. Also, the entertainment is also a little bit different as well. So it may be a little bit more sophisticated. It may be a little bit more to your taste, depending on what you're looking for. Sorry about that. An alarm that went off that I was not planning for. But the entertainment that you have may be a little bit more sophisticated, and maybe a little bit more along the lines of what you're looking for, depending on your taste. Again, the atmosphere, generally speaking, is a little bit more relaxed. It's not as say spring breaky with a lot of adult only cruise options. Now, if you're looking for that party vibe, there are opportunities out there. Absolutely. I can help you find those if that's what you want, because sometimes people just want to go, they want to let their hair down, which is fine. Some cruise lines, I'm going to talk about two specifically. Two, I'm not like air quoting, but just two here that are adult-only specific, and that is Virgin Voyages and also Viking. Virgin Voyages and Viking. So Virgin Voyages, owned by Sir Richard Branson. Viking, who's been a staple in the river cruise industry for a long, long time. They are two very different cruise options that cater to just adults. No kids are allowed. So when I say kid-free, I'm not talking about kids sail-free. I'm talking about kids that cruises where kids are not allowed. Viking offers ocean cruises and also river cruises in many, many different places. They have one excursion included per port, which is great to have that. The dining, the entertainment is a little bit more mature, and I don't mean mature as in like spicy. I mean just a little bit more elevated, sophisticated, like I was saying a little while ago. And it's great. The Viking cruise ships are, of course, river cruise ships are a little bit smaller. They have some ocean-going ships as well that are great, that are not these big mega ships, but that are a little bit more mid-size. And they offer a lot of great service and opportunities for folks that want to connect with the destinations that they are in, and explore and get to know some pretty great experiences. Virgin Voyages specifically is one that basically you can just go and you can just be. If you're looking for good food, I've talked about Virgin before on Travel Tips Tuesday. But if you're looking for good food, if you're looking for great service, if you're looking for updated, more contemporary staterooms, and technology, and just a smaller ship, a more maybe intimate feel. And I don't mean small ship. It's not like, okay, you got like, two people on the ship or something like that. It's not like that small, but compared to some of the mega ships that are out there, it's smaller. There are a lot of benefits to that. It's easier to get on and off of the ship. In port, they can get into some ports that some of the larger ships cannot. So I'm a big fan of Virgin in what they offer, especially the dining. Oh my gosh, the food is so good on Virgin Voyages. That is one thing across the board from every single person I've talked to that has ever cruised Virgin Voyages, that they absolutely love the food options. They don't have a buffet, by the way. There's no buffet on board, so don't go looking for one. But they have a food hall. They have several. They have Gun Bay, which is a fantastic Korean barbecue restaurant that I love. They have just all sorts of amazing food. The room service is great. So big fan of Virgin Voyages for the entertainment, for the ship's happening cast, for basically everything. Love it. Big fan of those. And I could definitely see why they are succeeding as well as they are. So some of the other benefits to cruising without kids is that they can offer a little bit more exclusive events and amenities than maybe you're used to, and it can just have more of a relaxed feel, I guess, in general, which is one way to put it. More of a focus on wellness and relaxation as well. And I think one thing that I found that some clients are looking for is they're not just looking for, okay, I want to go on a ship to sail around the Caribbean and soak up some vitamin D and maybe have a beverage or two and not have to worry about much. But they're looking for more of a complete experience when they hop on a cruise ship. They want to be catered to. They want to experience something and not just unplug like they could at home or say sit on the beach somewhere. They want a more tailored experience, which is one thing that's a little bit more possible with some of the adult only ships, is that there are more opportunities for more mature crowds, which is great. And one of the great things about these is that they're great. They're fantastic for romantic getaways. If you're looking for an opportunity to get away with your significant other, this is a great opportunity to do that, and great opportunity to celebrate that person and the love and bond that you all share. And it's one of the things that you can do with kids around, and you may want to, especially if you have a blended family. But sometimes, again, it's important to pull away. It's important to focus on the people that matter most to you, especially that number one person in your life that's by your side. So cruises can be ideal for couples, honeymooners, providing that romantic atmosphere without a ton of distractions. The ambiance is more relaxed. And there are often special offerings like private dinners, couples massages, other romantic excursions, and things that you want to be aware of, especially at some of the private destinations that are out there. So a lot of great things about sailing kid-free, and I highly suggest it. And doesn't even have to be an experience that can break the bank. If you're looking for something exclusive, yeah, we can definitely set you up with that. But I actually just booked a couple on Virgin Voyages recently and was able to get them some great onboard credit, and was able to kind of set them up with a cruise that was right in their budget. It's very reasonable for where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do. Was easy to get to the ports, and just making sure they're taken care of, just so they can focus on each other, because they're two very hard working people. So let me get back to this real quick, because this is a hot topic for me. I'm going to go back to the old Facebook feed and let's see here. Make sure I don't have any replies there on this question. Okay. So yes, there is one. So I'm glad I looked. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on the screen for everybody to see it that's watching this live. But this, so Lisa says this. put her name here. I'm not going to do last names, just, for privacy and all the things. But Lisa says this: the stress of daily life and a stressful job can kill you. You need to break away. Now, try to be pretty positive here on Travel Tips Tuesday, but we are not meant to work all the time. We are not meant to go, 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 go. And I am preaching to the choir here, folks. I am a workaholic. My dad was a very hard worker. My grandfather was a very hard worker. His father. I have friends that are very hard workers and things. It is easy to get caught up in your job. Jobs take up a ton of time from us. For some of us, we spend more time with our jobs than we do our own families. And it should not be that way. We should not, have a job so we can have a family, right? That's not how that works. That's not how that works, folks. Family should always come first. It always should. And that vacation time is there for a number of reasons. One, so we can disconnect and focus on our family, so we can be present with them without having to be present with our jobs. It's hard these days with phones and technologies and all those things that we've got to take with us. In fact, working in the travel industry, and one of our guests that's going to be coming up here in a few weeks, I may get him to talk about this. But working in the travel industry can actually be very hard for us to disconnect, because when we're in destination, we're always our heads are always on a swivel. We're like, what sort of dining options are there? What are their accommodations like? What sort of excursions options are there? What are the beaches like? We're always looking at things and thinking about things from a guest point of view, a client point of view, because we want to make sure that people are prepared to have the best opportunity to engage in their experience that they have that's available. So it's hard for us just to unplug, just to go. And one of the guests that's coming on soon, his name is Joseph. He is a representative for one of the brands that we work with for all-inclusive resorts, and he's currently, or has been, on vacation with his family. And he posted something about this, about just needing to unplug and just be. Sometimes your significant other, your kids, they don't just need to see you as provider. They don't need to just see you as, say, travel agent or whatever your title in your professional world is. They just need you. Turn the phone off, leave it at home, put that email on away, take that vacation time. Post-pandemic, the amount of vacation time that people had cataloged was, or had backlogged rather, was absolutely insane. It's crazy. Even to this day, people don't take vacation time because they are worried about what's going to happen at their job if they are not there. People, I'm here to tell you, work will always be around. Work will always be there. There will always be more work. There's always something else to do. There's always something else to do. So take that vacation time, unplug it. And I'm not saying that as a plug to get you to book something with me. That would be nice. Selfishly, that would be nice. But take that vacation time, unplug, cling to what matters most. Let them know that they are important to you. Invest in them, be with them, because jobs come and go, right? But your family is the constant. Your family is what's going to be there. Your family is what should matter most at the end of the day. Even if you're sailing kid free, you need to do that sometimes. You need to get away, not just a date night, but think about a trip, maybe even a cruise that you could take. So I'm going to take a look here at the comments again. Yeah, Dave said it, there are some adult-only cruise options, mentioned Virgin Voyages and Viking River Cruises and Viking Ocean Cruises. I also want to highlight some other cruise lines that are out there as well that have great adult-only areas. I mentioned Royal Caribbean. Celebrity Cruise Line has one. Princess Cruises is great for families, but they do have some great adult-only experiences as well. And Alma Waterways is in Avalon are two fantastic river cruise options for you that are not just say family friendly per se, but they do offer more of a catered experience to experience the destination, to get off the ship. River cruising, which we are going to talk about on Travel Tips Tuesday more in depth, hopefully soon, is not just about sitting on the ship per se, but is about getting out and encountering the destination. And for that reason, most river cruising ships that I'm aware of anyway do not have kids clubs or organized kids programming. So that's one thing to be aware of, but they have ample opportunities to engage in the destinations. And there are some age limits on some river cruise lines and even some ocean-going cruise lines that are smaller and more intimate. Windstar is one that I was on last year. I believe you have to be at least 8 to board their ships. When I was on their ships, I saw just a couple of families that were on there. So, again, sorry about the background noise here today. I thought I had everything muted, but apparently I did not. But that's okay. So, again, my name is John. This is Travel Tips Tuesday. I love doing this with you guys and gals that are out there in the travel world. Also want to give a shout out to the happy folks over on LinkedIn. This is my first day sending Travel Tips Tuesday out to LinkedIn. So hello, LinkedIn. Good to see you all here. So if you have watched this or I came across it on LinkedIn, I would love to hear from you. If there are things that you would like to see covered on Travel Tips Tuesday, I would love to hear from you. Just a little story. This podcast has been around in some form since about 2018. Took a little bit of hiatus, but we are back. And I'm going to be doing more of these midday shows from time to time as well to give folks a little bit more chance to engage. So last but not least, this is a little bit about me. I am a travel agent with Travelmation, top producing travel agent, accessible certified, luxury certified, group certified, and destination wedding certified, and would love to reach out to you guys and have a conversation about any of the travel needs that you may have and about just your travel goals, just to chat about them. So I love it. So thank you all so much for visiting with me here for a few minutes on Travel Tips Tuesday today on March the 25th, 2025. And we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.